Race 2 for the Avon Tyres National Formula Ford Championship is about to get underway. Cars are all lined up. The grid is as the finishing race 1, so now Murray, Joey Foster and Michael Eastwell are the top 3. But let's have a quick chat with Jamie Thorburn. He had difficulties in testing, his car fell apart. He started 10th and finished 8th in the first race. Jamie, I'll be quick, I know you've just been called to go. You had issues in testing, you started 10th, finished 8th in the first race. Where can you go from 8th here?
Hopefully stay out of trouble, move up a few spots, stay in the hunt for the reverse grid pole is kind of the main aim. It's so hard to pass. I mean, we had really good pace in the race yesterday, but just you get stuck in a line, you can't really do anything. But yeah, testing on Friday was a disaster. We only done 10 laps in total, so struggled in qualifying and put us on the back foot for the whole weekend. But the pace is there, we just need to get a bit clearer to show it, and unfortunately, quite a long way to get to the front.
Yeah, well, there's 2 podiums at Knockhill, hopefully another one here.
Yeah, perfect, that'd be good.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Good, Jamie. And if we look at the back of the grid, we've got the man who scored the most points at Knockhill, which is Neil McLennan, and in front of him is Luke Cooper. They're the ones to look out for. So with that, I'll hand you over to our commentary team and Scott Woodwiss.
Race 2 here at Brands Hatch, and a very exciting front row. Murray and Foster together on the front row ahead of Eastwell and Bentley Ellis. Then Michael Moyers and Matt Round-Garrido from Josh Smith and Jamie Thorburn on the 4th row. Row 5 sees Chris Middlehurst and Matt Rivette line up together ahead of Jonathan Brown and Carter Williams. Then Sebastian Melrose and Nico Gruber from James Clark and Pascal Monbaron, the Swiss driver, on row 8. So Thomas Capazone and Richard Morris from Sebastian Job and Vincent J. Then Davide Maloney and Sam Street from Rory Smith, and then Neil McLennan back in 24th. Watch for him. Luke Cooper and Roger Orgy from row 13, and Henry Charles and Jack Wolfenden starting in 28th and 30th respectively. So 15 minutes of action for race 2 here at Brands Hatch at National Formula Fords. Murray on the left, Foster on the right. Who's going to win the whole shot? Down towards turn 1. Let's find out as we go racing. Good start from Murray and from Foster, but with him now as he tucks in behind the Irishman. It is now Eastwell into 3rd, and already Moyes defending from both Josh Smith and Matt Round-Garrido into Paddock Hill Bend. Now on board with Chris Middlehurst, lots of understeer as he follows the rear end of Hugo Bentley Ellis. He's now going down the outside of Jamie Thorburn into the hairpin together. Leaders all through safely by the looks of it, all line astern as they head down the hill. Jonathan Brown runs wide, he goes wheel to wheel with Sebastian Melrose and his teammate Nico Gruber. There he is in the blue and white car with the Austrian flag. Now down the Cooper straight into Surtees, Murray, then Foster, then at Eastwell. Then it's the battle going on for 3rd place downwards. There's Brown, Gruber, and he's also followed by James Clark. And also that's Thomas Capazone in one of the Swift chassis. Now we're on board with Rory Smith as he's now chasing after Sebastian Job as they end the first lap of the race. And it's Murray who leads, Foster 2nd, then Eastwell, Moyers, and under attack for 5th position is Josh Smith as here comes Matt Round-Garrido looking to the outside, but he has to dart back in to find the slipstream. Meanwhile, back on board with Luke Cooper, he's attacking Sebastian Job as they turn into the right-hander at Paddock Hill Bend. Now as they crest the rise towards Druids, he's got the inside line. Now on board with Sebastian Job as he lets Cooper through. He's gone down another place. This is Matt Rivette defending from Carter Williams. He looks up the inside and, oh, that was very close. Almost contact between the pair of them, but Carter Williams is feeling pretty racy here in the early stages. There's the fight for 5th. Josh Smith leads it from Matt Round-Garrido, Jamie Thorburn. Just behind them as well looks to be Hugo Bentley Ellis, and also Chris Middlehurst is in there too. Then Rivette, Williams, Melrose, Jonathan Brown's in there as well. Here's a good scrap. This is Pascal Monbaron battling between the charging Rory Smith and Neil McLennan. They started towards the back of the grid. They've got a lot of places to make up, and they're starting to make them up early. Back into Paddock Hill Bend. Still Smith from Round-Garrido. Then Thorburn, Bentley Ellis, and this man, Chris Middlehurst. Great to see him back in a Formula Ford. He was here at last year's festival. Got close to the podium as well, so he is someone to watch out for. It's only a one-off appearance, but it's good to see him back in this championship. As Josh Smith, the reigning Northern champion, turns his way through Graham Hill Bend. Now we see Thorburn under attack from Hugo Bentley Ellis. Looks up the inside to make a move as they head into Surtees. And Bentley Ellis has got some damage. Look at the front nose cone. On board Middlehurst, look at the nose of Bentley Ellis. There, you can see it just in between the front suspension. The nose cone of Bentley Ellis is well, Chris Middlehurst sideways through clearways, but the front nose section of Bentley Ellis's car is hanging off at a 90-degree angle. Now, if that stays where it is, he should be okay. Otherwise, he'll possibly get the black and orange flag from the stewards, where he'll have to come in and get that removed. But it won't do his aerodynamics any good, that's for sure. Here's a good battle. This is Melrose ahead of Williams, with Brown and Gruber in the mix as well. There's one car that's stopped on the run up towards Druids. I think that's Sam Street. It's one of our Clubman Post 89 drivers. Indeed it is. So that's a shame to see that Sam Street's out of the race at this early stage. Now ball with Cooper, looking up the inside. Pascal Monbaron, and there's contact. Monbaron goes skating across the grass. Cooper possibly has damage, but he looks to rejoin the race. And Monbaron crawls to a halt and probably thinking, what on earth was that all about? Puts his thumbs up to the marshals, I'm okay. But I'm pretty sure he won't have appreciated that. As for Cooper, oh look, the pictures speak for themselves. He's struggling with, once again, right front suspension damage. And it was a suspension failure in race 1. It's as a consequence of contact in race 2. As he struggles into pit lane. That's his race done, it's finished. Turns it in. He's struggling to turn it into pit lane. Look at this. Full lock just to get it into pit lane in a straight line. So that's how severe the contact was, and that's a lot of effort that the Cooper team have got to do to get that car race ready for race 3. Also as the race is Chris Middlehurst. And listen, no engine noise. The engine is completely dead. So he's got no drive, no power, nothing. The rest of the field streams through, and he now pulls off the track pretty swiftly, out of harm's way, but I'm afraid that's his race over too. So they're all dropping like flies here. Now we're on board with Jack Wolfenden. Now he's chasing after 2 of the Clubman Post 89 front runners. There's Henry Chart in the red car, and just ahead of him is the Belgian John Svensson, former European Formula Renault racer. Down the straight, up towards Paddock Hill Bend. Very treacherous corner, one of the best corners, not only in the UK, but in European and world motorsport. Always catches you out if you take liberties with it. Back up the hill, underneath the bridge. Has a sneaky look up the inside of Svensson, but closes the door. And Wolfenden is losing ground to the cars in front. Either it's because he spotted yellow flags. There's Monbaron's car off to the right. That car's still stranded. So I wonder, do we have a safety car here at Brands Hatch? It's the second safety car. Yes, we do. There's the confirmation. On board with Foster, but the safety car has been called for the second time. Now, one thing we should explain, we didn't explain it in the first programme, but for this rule in Formula Ford, when there's a safety car, at the race director's discretion, they can extend the race by 5 minutes if they feel it's warranted. And I do believe on this occasion we are extending the race, so rather than the traditional 15 minutes in this championship, we're now going to get 20 total minutes of racing here, which is absolutely fantastic. It means we get an extra 5 minutes of Formula Ford action. So there's Joey Foster. Back to the scene of his fantastic Formula Ford Festival victory. And of course the man right in front of him is the driver which won the festival in 2016, as we see Pascal Monbaron just giving a little bit of assistance to the recovery team, steadying the tow rope as his car gets dragged back to the paddock. So everyone bunches up then. So it's Murray from Foster, then from Eastwell, then from Bentley Ellis. But there's Bentley Ellis there, so it was Michael Moyes that was in 4th place. Bentley Ellis is back in around about 7th or 8th place with that damaged front nose section. It's a little bit tricky sometimes when you've got the 3 Kevin Mills Racing Spectrums, and they've all got pretty much exactly the same colour scheme, and they all look identical. It's predominantly white and blue with the very pointy nose cones that they all have. Very distinctive of these Spectrums. There they are. And there's Bentley Ellis. Look at the damage. So it seems to be staying on for the time being, but we'll wait and see. If it does start flapping around too much, as we said earlier on, he will be given the black and orange flag, and that will force him to come in. The team will have to rip that nose cone off and have to continue way down the order, possibly even a lap down if they can't get it done quickly. So the leaders again weaving from side to side to keep the heat and temperature into the tyres and brakes. Safety car lights are out, and that means that for the second time it's now Niall Murray's turn to become the safety car effectively, and there's his very aggressive weaving tactic to keep his tyres warmed up, and he's going to choose exactly where he wants to go and straighten things out, which he does now. And just like in race 1, he hasn't shaken off the man right behind him in 2nd place, because Foster appears to have gone with him, but they have dropped the cars behind for 3rd place. So looks to me as if Michael Eastwell was a little bit asleep, and he didn't get on the throttle pedal as quickly as anyone else. So across the line they go to restart this race. It's Murray from Foster, Eastwell in 3rd, and now Michael Moyes comes under attack from Josh Smith in 4th place. Here's the 2 Cliff Dempsey cars, Brown and Gruber. Brown in the red car, being followed by Gruber in the blue and white car. Into the hairpin. Smith closes in on Michael Moyes, but he's now got Matt Garrido and Jamie Thorburn to worry about as well. Down the hill into Graham Hill Bend, turn left. There is Josh Smith, reigning Northern Formula 4 champion. Full national campaign this year, and he really wants to try and do well in that Oldfield Motorsport Van Diemen. Up through clearways, into the short kink at McLaren, up the inside goes Josh Smith. He's found the gap, he forces Moyes wide on the exit, and now possibly here could come Matt Garrido. But Moyes has kept him a slipstream. He's tucked right underneath the gearbox of the Van Diemen. Here comes Matt Garrido behind him in the red and white car. Moyes looks out. Garrido almost looks up the inside and almost makes contact. Here comes Moyes, and they do touch. Smith and Moyes are both wide. Here comes Matt Garrido on the exit at Paddock Hill Bend, and Matt Garrido's got past both of them. Great opportunistic driving as they come up towards Druids. It's now Moyes in the mix as well. Thorburn's in there too. Bentley Ellis goes up the inside and makes contact. Oh, that all ended in disaster. Josh Smith with right rear suspension damage. He is out of the race on the spot. That is dreadful. Oh, and more contact. That's Carter Williams and Sebastian Melrose facing the wrong way. Now then, was there contact between the pair of them? Melrose is waiting for a gap in the traffic to get going again. Refires the engine. Spit of flame from the exhaust and away he goes. But the crucial thing is, what of Carter Williams? Is he still going? Is he weaves the car to get it going again? And yes, he has stopped. So here's a replay of what happened in the first incident. Hugo Bentley Ellis just tags the rear of Josh Smith's car backwards onto the grass, and the right rear suspension damage means that car's going nowhere, and neither is Carter Williams. Not very impressed with what just happened. He's going to score no points in this race. So for the second time this weekend, indeed this race in fact, the safety car is out again, and this means of course as it's the second time, no 5 minutes added on. There's the replay, and there was contact. And that's damaged the right front of Carter Williams' car, and Carter puts his hand up and says, sorry buddy, didn't mean to hit you, but you did turn across me. I'm sure Melrose will have differing opinions to that, but the headline is that Melrose continues on and Williams is out on the spot. So the safety car, as we said, called back into action, and now another chance for Niall Murray to, well, refocus himself as they head towards the continuation of the safety car period. We see Neil McLellan's quite high up. He's got past one of his Cliff Dempsey teammates. I think he's past Jonathan Brown now, so he should be inside the top 10. And remember, they reverse either the first 6, 7 or 8 drivers in the field, depending on how the draw goes to reverse the grid. So possibly, if Neil McLellan plays his cards right, he could be in the plum seat to get pole position, but it means he has to be in the right place at the right time, and also be lucky with the draw in order to do so. There he is in the white and blue car just ahead of Jonathan Brown, in the red car directly behind him. And here's a fun fact, the car that's behind Neil McLellan, Jonathan Brown, is in Neil McLellan's car from 2017. So, bit of deja vu in Neil McLellan's mirrors. There's Bentley Ellis, there's Gruber, there's McLellan, behind him Brown, then Rory Smith is in there as well too. And those two have fought really well through the field to get themselves up towards the base of the top 10. Roger Orgy's there as well, car number 10. Thomas Capozone, James Clark, Vincent Jay's in there too. And there's Matt Rivette, he's dropped down a few places. John Svensson and Jack Wolfman are in there as well. And then Richard Morris, Daniel O'Byrne and Davide Maloney towards the back of the field. Safety car lights are out again, which means for the second time, Niall Murray has to put into practice his restart tactic. So once again, weaving from side to side. This time he goes much earlier. He went just before the McLaren corner. This time he's gone right at the apex of Surtees. So Murray decides no more hanging around. Time to get this race restarted. And Foster, with a twitch of oversteer, is trying to go with him as best he can. So back up through the gears, up to the start and finish straight. Green flags fly on the pit straight, and we're back to racing here at Brands Hatch. So leaders down towards Paddock Hill Bend. This is the fight for third then. So it's Eastwell, then Matt Garrido, Michael Moyes and Jamie Thorburn. Behind them, Hugo Bentley Ellis is fending off both Nico Gruber and the charging Neil McLellan. As there goes Moyes sticking to the inside line. Thorburn tries to take the outsiders. Bentley Ellis defends from both of the Cliff Dempsey cars behind him. Gruber goes wide on the exit, holds the inside line against his teammate, and does not allow McLellan through. They are racing for position, but unless McLellan can get a better run off the corner, he's going to find his task infinitely more difficult. And also as well, it's a 3-car Cliff Dempsey racing trio in the mix, as we've got Gruber, McLellan and then Jonathan Brown. The rest of the field goes streaming through. There goes 2 of the Ray chassis. That's That's Vincent J, I should say, battling with Matt Rivette. They head onto the pit straight. And also a good scrap behind them, and that's Sebastian Melrose. He's trying to charge back up through the order after his earlier spin. I think he's visited the pits as well. As the battle of a third continues, it's still Eastwell, round Garrido, then Michael Moyers, and then it's Jamie Thorburn, and they're all stacking up behind them because Hugo Bentley-Ellis has caught Jamie Thorburn, and just behind them also becomes a bit of backup for Thorburn because the trio of Cliff Dempsey cars, which is now led by Neil McLennan, is coming with them. So if they can all get past Hugo Bentley-Ellis, we've had a spin for Henry Chart, second time he's been off the road today. Back on the road, bit of a smoky exhaust, but he finds the track again as the leaders come back down the straight, and the top two really have broken away. Murray and Foster in a race of their own, but it's all action stations for third place downwards. Look at the train forming. This is third down to about 11th place, and it's currently held by Michael Eastwell, but Matt Ramgarida would dearly love to make it 2 Team Dolan cars on the podium. Back on board with Foster. Not long to go in this race as he turns his way through the apex of Graham Hill Bend, now down the back straight. Carter Williams' car was there on the left, into Surtees, and so far it seems that Niall Murray has pretty much had this race in control from the very start. He's led the field away from 2 restarts, he's kept Foster at bay, and everything that Foster throws at him, Murray has a response. It's punch and counter punch at the front. The gap has remained pretty much static as we head on to the final lap of the race. And what's going to happen for third place downwards, it's anyone's guess, and also will be the fight, possibly, for the reverse pole position. Now currently, it's either going to be taken by Thorburn, Bentley-Ellis or McLennan. One of these 3 will get it, but in which order remains to be seen. McLennan right underneath the gearbox as he hurries Bentley-Ellis through Druids down the hill. Now, can he make it through, or will Bentley-Ellis defend? He tries to make it into Graham Hill Bend, but holds the inside line, but he may pull alongside if he's got an opportunity. Down the back straight towards Surtees for the final time. And as they head into the left-hander up towards the top of the corner, it's going to be a drag race down towards the checkered flag. McLennan tries to have a sneaky look up the inside, but they're all stacking up. As up towards the checkered flag, Niall Murray will make it 2 from 2 as he punches the air with delight. It is a second win of the weekend for Niall Murray. Foster in second place, and Eastwell is third. From round Garrido, Moyers, Thorburn, Bentley-Ellis, McLennan finishes 8th ahead of Gruber, and then Jonathan Brown. Eastwell with the fastest lap of the race to boot. 11th goes to Rory Smith from Roger Orgy and Thomas Capazone, then James Clark and Matt Rivette, Sebastian Job and Vincent J, and Svensson, Wolfenden and Melrose complete the top 20 from O'Byrne, Maloney, Morris and Chart. And again, look at the retirements. Josh Smith, Carter Williams, Chris Middlehurst, Luke Cooper, et al. Are all going to have a lot of work for the third race.
Well, Niall, second win of the weekend. Firstly, congratulations. It wasn't easy with a safety car.
No, it was a lot tougher than yesterday. Obviously, I knew it was going to be tougher with Joey there, and I just needed to get that first lap just to break the toe. I knew if he was close enough, he was going to be able to keep up, and if not, be even quicker than me in the toe, and be able to throw a move on. So I was just trying to get that first lap, which I did, and then safety car, and then I did again, and safety car, and so I had to do it all again.
Joey, fantastic race, great second place. Really competitive with Niall, especially after that second safety car.
Yeah, I mean, to start with, plan A was always trying to beat him off the line, but he got a perfect start, and he slowly started to creep away, so I was quite relieved when the first safety car came out. It might give us another chance to get back on him, but once again, he got a perfect start under the safety car, and yeah, there was no way I could sort of get close enough to have a pass, so frustrating, but, you know, yeah, top job by Niall, he fully deserves it.
Well, Michael, familiar story, third on the podium. What a race.
Yeah, good race, good race. As I said, Joey and Niall just had that little bit on me in that race, and I sort of set my sights on just trying to keep my third. We still got really good pace, but I just lacked that little bit there.